I want to make the shed at Dulwich the hottest spot in London.
That's Vice reporter Oobah Butler. He created a fictional restaurant last year in London to show that TripAdvisor could be tricked with fake reviews. And he was right. Completely made up reviews and pictures posted by friends made it a hit.
It's #1 out of 18,000 restaurants in London.
The story made headlines all over the world.
After the shed news hit the headlines, I spent 20 hours doing interviews back to back.
And Butler, it seems, got a bit tired of the attention.
It doesn't matter where the interviewer's from, they ask me the exact same question.
And so he came up with his next scheme, holding auditions for people he could send out to do the interviews pretending to be him.
Can I get away with it?
He could, and he did, get away with it. The BBC fell for it. So did stations in India and Bulgaria. Even people who'd interviewed him before didn't notice he didn't quite look the same.
So good, and Oobah Butler joins us once again from London. Good morning to you.
If it works, this can only be a good thing.
Funny? Sure. But with journalists fighting the scourge of fake news, was this prank worth the cost? We've reached the real Oobah Butler in London.
Okay, so let me, just put it on the table. I was annoyed by this when I saw it because,
Right.
I'm working in a world where journalists are turning themselves inside out to be transparent, to win back public trust. And then you pull a stunt like this, and I just have a hard time understanding why you'd put the work that so many journalists are doing to win back that trust at risk.
Well, I would just say that, there's this very serious issue, like the journalists and the plight that people are going through, the one that you rightfully pointed out. And I would say that I think that this is very, very different, what I've done. But I will also say that I think there's nothing, in terms of the values of journalism, I don't think there's anything bad about promoting healthy skepticism, especially when you're promoting it to an audience. And I think that a skill of asking people to be skeptical about, every bit of information that they're fed nowadays is actually kind of paramount to the quest of journalism as opposed to against it.
But don't you think it's gone well beyond healthy skepticism? We can all get on board with that. It's right out cynicism now. People just out now don't believe it, and this is giving them a prime example.
Yeah, but I just would point back to that again and just say that, this isn't supposed to be any sort of indictment to the press. This is more kind of, it's more about the nature of content now and how people are expected, because of the pressures on media companies, to put out stories over and over and over again without having an adequate amount of time to research them properly. This isn't supposed to promote a distrust of journalists at all. This is supposed to promote within a viewer. Ultimately, it's entertainment in my view, but one of the things I would hope it would do is promote within a viewer to think, depending on wherever you get your news from, I think that there's a validity and sort of a value in wherever you watch your news to think twice about a story. Because if we are just accepting everything we see on television every morning, depending on what side of the political spectrum you are, then I don't think that that's also a completely healthy thing. But I take your point.
I'm just not sure I buy that, because this doesn't come down to research. I mean, you sent people in who, by some degree, looked like you. So the person you tricked was the security guard who let them through, or the entry-level person whose job it is to walk the person from the security desk to the studio. It wasn't a journalist who, in some cases, in a radio interview, for instance, may not have even seen you. So how does that test research?
Well, I just say that, the Australian, so for example, like Sunrise on 7, the breakfast show that I've been on, it was the same team who had seen me before, and it was literally images that were of me on the TV show last time I was on 6 months before, and then it cut, and it wasn't me, One of the presenters, the BBC presenter, was quite annoyed with me after this, and rightfully so, like there can be, but I think that to question things, there's value in that too. And I would say that if it was a gross mistrust and mistruth or something like that, then I wouldn't have released a film about it. Do you know what I mean? To say, to show that this is possible and doable. There's a point to be made from it. It's an investigation in itself.
Well, I appreciate you taking the questions, and I'm also glad to hear I wasn't the only person annoyed. That would have been frustrating too. But thanks for talking about it.
Thank you.